Hello and welcome to my first Serlectimony. What is a Serlectimony, you ask? A portmanteau, or the combination of the words sermon, lecture, and testimony, which is what the seriously, biblically profound series is. Part sermon, lecture, and my testimony. When I first completed the bridge, I knew immediately that it was pretty far out there and I would meet with resistance. I thought it was just the synergy of God and math turning people off. Few people feel comfortable enough with either concept alone, but together? No, it was too muchy. So what did I do? More work. I lamented over this for weeks. Is the synergy of God and math that horrid? Or is it dangerous? Is the algorithm stopping it from reaching the people? Or is it just bad? So I created beginner courses, mind maps, cheat sheets, and reference guides to help fill in the learning gaps that made this mental bridge seem impassable. I couldn't simplify the actual material, but I could make sure to prepare everyone. Made it all free, still no takers, just when I was about to scrap it all and start again. Or throw my foot through my computer screen. I remembered that a friend was having a spa party. Due to my schedule, I declined several of the previous invites, but this day, I really needed a rest. So I decided, get up, get out, and come back refreshed to rethink my strategy. This was a good thing too, because while I was sitting in the 103-degree water with water jets massaging my feet, feeling quite buoyant, it occurred to me what the problem was. And it was an easy fix. I'd simply left something out, perhaps the most important part: how I fit into the story. How these discoveries, revelations, and the bridge created a deeper understanding and relationship with Jesus. So, let me tell you something that doesn't fit neatly in a testimony box or a Sunday school lesson. I understand deeply how the logistics of the human mind can sometimes stand in the way of emotional and spiritual growth. I know what it's like to reason your way into a corner so tight, not even your tears can flow freely. I grew up in the poorest neighborhoods of Cleveland, where you had to think fast, move smarter, and stay ahead of the hunger. Where survival of the fittest wasn't just a metaphor, it was the method. So I used mathematics as my shield, my sword, and my compass. Similar to a 6'7" senior with a wicked jump shot. I traded talent for a path out of poverty. I became a mathematician, earned some degrees, bought some houses, traveled to tropical islands, married a good man, lived the so-called American dream. Some say I did the improbable as a Black woman, with all of it provisioned by calculation, discipline, and logic. Or so I thought. Around our 15th year of marriage, my husband was diagnosed with kidney disease. I did what made sense. I turned on the machine of my mind. I studied, planned, and optimized every part of his care. I even learned to cannulate. I tried to mathematically outrun death. We did well for a while. Even his doctors were impressed with his health management. But death doesn't listen to doctors or genius wives. And 5 weeks shy of our 21st anniversary, he died at just 45 years old. And there was no one to blame. No evil villain, no tragic twist. Just absence, emptiness, and a logical kind of grief. There aren't very many self-help guides for the blameless. For a while I needed blame, so I looked inward for the culprit. Maybe it was me. If I'd made him do more of this, or perhaps less of that, he would have lived. I figured that if anyone could find some blame, it would be my mother-in-law. Not that she was a blaming, shaming type of in-law, but this was her son, her firstborn son. Her grief was profound. Surely if I could find someone to blame me, it would be her. No, she only said, "Baby, I know that you loved him, and if there was anything else that could be done, you would have done it." Wow, not even a mother-in-law takes free blame bait. There was no fault, nothing to wish to do over. He was just gone. It didn't compute. It couldn't. And so I collapsed. The logic that had built my world couldn't hold me anymore. The do the right thing anchors I once leaned on were no longer deep enough. Little advice about rebuilding from dust. God felt far, Math felt mute, but even in that silence, I had one instinct left: survive, by any means necessary. So I reached wildly for psychology, for physics, for sacred texts, for ancient symbols in quantum fields, for anything that would tell me that this dust cloud could be formed again, that I wasn't lost beyond repair. And in the midst of that true dark night of the soul, one figure emerged from the ruins. Not a theory, not a parable, not an abstraction, a carpenter, not dressed in the robes of my Sunday memories, but robed in the dust of grief and the grit of love. A man who knew what it meant to suffer, to build with his hands, to carry weight, to walk toward death and still offer life. It wasn't a return to religion. It was a rebirth into reality. And slowly I began to understand. Math hadn't failed me. It had just been incomplete, because I hadn't yet learned how to interpret it as tongue. Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, "For this reason, the one who speaks in a tongue should pray that they may interpret what they say." So this is my interpretation. Mathematics has always been how I listen for God, even when I didn't know it was Him speaking. And now it's how I speak of God. Not because I think I know too much, not because I believe I'm greater than I am, but because I've been cracked open. And in that brokenness, I heard something real. I know that mathematics isn't a tongue in the sense of what church envisions. But what do you do when God speaks? You accept the gift. So I ask the nation of believers, seekers, skeptics, and saints, test the Spirit. Don't get distracted by the delivery and dismiss the logos because he's a carpenter today. Tomorrow he may be discussing fluid dynamics and buoyancy. Ask yourself, does it lead you to love? Does it speak of sacrifice, of loyalty, of the long battle we're all in? Does it bring light to the dark? Because no matter the delivery system, whether it's robes or rebel ships, temples or time loops, intellect or intuition, the story is the same. The human condition is struggle. The path to redemption is sacrifice, love, and loyalty. And yes, as long as humans exist, there will always be a sequel to the current battle. But the truth never changes. Let's begin.